Krishna is the embodiment of all auspiciousness. Therefore, he says anything he thinks, anything he does, they are all very auspicious. Primarily, they benefit his devotees in the first place. The devotees of his devotees and the devotees of the devotees of his devotees, they all benefit. So therefore, we may consider that certain difficulties, problems, reversals in life, in the material world, are negative aspects of our life. But that is a misunderstanding. Because Krishna's intention is that he wants to bring us back to the spiritual world. That is his actual decision and intention in everything he does. So what is the meaning of all auspiciousness? This explains the meaning of all auspiciousness. This explains the meaning of that everything done, Krishna does for our benefit. So our ultimate benefit is to be completely free from this material world and attain the spiritual world. That is our most beneficial. Now, there are certain a mood that one has to develop when one gets into the spiritual world. Certain mood. And that mood is and that of service. Service. Service actually means that I don't take any consideration about my well-being. Rather, my first and primary objective is the well-being and pleasure and happiness of Krishna. That is my first and foremost desire. So here we have a very interesting event, issue, situation. Krishna wants us to come to the spiritual world, and therefore he does whatever he does is with that intention. And we, in the conditioned state of existence, by the process of sadhana and receiving the mercy of the spiritual master and raising our Shraddha, faith, we develop an attitude of a servitor. That is our ultimate benefit. That is our ultimate goal. There is no goal higher than becoming a perfect servant of the Lord. So what is a perfect servant? To always see to the pleasure of the master. What will please the master? And there is a full sacrificing mood. The mood of the servant is fully sacrificing anything and everything for the sake of the master, for the sake of the Lord. Now, when we are in the material world, we have certain preconceived notions. That means there are some set ideas in my head. If somebody dies in the family, then it is an occasion to be sad. That is a preconceived notion that I have been. If a new child is born into a family, then it is an occasion for great joy. Giving a very... Now, actually in the material world, if one considers, nobody belongs to anyone. We spoke about this morning. Neither the child which is born belongs to me, nor the person who passed away belongs to me. He may be my father, mother, brother, sister, wife, whoever. Doesn't belong to me. So there is absolutely no loss. The real loss is the loss of Vaishnava association. That is real loss. Because Vaishnavas are our own. They are our own. Because Vaishnavas, they help us come to Krishna. But everyone else who is not a devotee, of course, if you are in a family of devotees, it's a different matter. I'm speaking in general terms. If the family members are not devotees, then of course there's no attachment. Should not be any attachment. If somebody passes away, what to do? Death is there from the very beginning of our birth. So one day everybody will leave. It's nothing new. One should not be amazed or surprised that somebody is dying. The surprise is that somebody is living for so long. That is the surprise. You're still alive. You meet somebody after 1 year and you say, hey, you're still alive. So, the mercy that Krishna is giving us is that He has made this material world in such a way so as we don't get attached. It is made like that. And whatever happens to the life of a devotee is always with the aim and goal of making him become free from attachment, from mundane material attachment, to become free and develop a strong affinity, a strong attraction for Krishna and Kārșneya. Kārșneya means anything connected to Krishna. Just like in the teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sanatan Goswami in Kashi, Varanasi, Mahaprabhu said there are 4 things which are all on equal platform and they don't need any kind of ritual or installation. The holy name, the Srimad Bhagavatam, Tulsi Devi and Ganga Devi. So they are all Kārșneya. So simply by worshipping them, one can very easily attract Krishna. Very easily. So therefore, the events that take place in our life, the events that is happening in our life, in the life of devotees, and of everyone actually, is ultimately to remind them of their eternal connection to Krishna. So therefore, especially in the lives of devotees, even if it seems to be ostensibly, seemingly, something very negative, something which is problematic, something which is a lot of misery and suffering, ultimately it is the most beneficial for us. Whatever happens to the devotee is always most beneficial. We may not be able to see it that way because of our attachment to matter, because of our hope and expectation in the material world. We have, all of us, we have some hope and expectation in the material world. So that gets disturbed. And when that gets disturbed, we think that Krishna is punishing us. Well, why should Krishna punish? Nothing. And anyway, Krishna never punishes. That is an absolute truth. Krishna is never the punisher. All the punishing is done by Jamraj and Durga Devi. They punish. Krishna never punishes. Absolutely not. So, we see it as punishment from Krishna because we have a connection to Krishna. We don't have a connection to any demigods. And we are told in the scriptures that nothing happens without the sanction of the Supreme Lord. So therefore, whatever is taking place and events taking place in our lives, we naturally attribute it to Krishna's desire. Krishna will that it happens, Krishna's will, then it happens. That is 100% true that this Krishna wants it to happen. But it is 100% also true that it is for our benefit. And therefore, it is mercy. Krishna will never, ever do any harm to his devotees. His devotees are very dear to him. Most dear to him. We have to realize that. If we can realize how dear Krishna is, but the point is that we are very stubborn. Stubborn. We don't want to give up all our old habits. We don't want to give up our old habits. We still want to, you see, naturally, Krishna is not at all happy when we criticize other devotees or other persons, always finding fault in them. Krishna is not happy with that. And so, we don't make advancement. We stop our own advancement. Krishna doesn't want to interfere with our free will, but it is 100% sure that anything that Krishna is doing, saying, thinking or desiring is always auspicious. And when certain events take place in our lives, sanctioned by Krishna, then it is his mercy. Because to give up attachment is very difficult. But when something like this happens, where we have to be torn apart from our attachment, at that time it is very painful. We think, oh, why is Krishna giving me pain. He is not giving you pain. You are giving yourself the pain.
So what if it is not false to think that everything what happens is also the mercy of the spiritual master? And what about when we self think we make mistakes, which is not enhancing our spiritual development? Is this then also mercy, or is this then not?
No. There are two things. One is the will of Krishna, and the other is my own will. And Krishna never interferes with our will, our free will. Doesn't do that. So therefore, we make the mistakes. Not Krishna is making the mistake. Krishna never makes mistakes. But due to our free will and a stubbornness not to change and understand what Krishna desires from us. Krishna desires that we should give up false ego. That is what Krishna desires. Because false ego means to be a competitor to Krishna. As long as we have our false ego, we are competitors to Krishna. We may not be fully aware of that, but we are actually. Because false ego means to act according to our own whim, which will go against the will of Krishna. So therefore, we become small competitors to Krishna. So Krishna says, okay, you have to experience some more. And Krishna is sure that someday you will come, because this material world is such a place of suffering. You cannot, if you are intelligent enough, go on taking the suffering without desiring to get out of it. Someday you will. Now, mistakenly we think the way to get out of the suffering is through material enjoyment. False. That is our grievous mistake. To think that material pleasure, material happiness can permanently drive away suffering. A grievous mistake. Both suffering as well as material enjoyment are imprisonment. When we are enjoying, we are imprisoned. And we are suffering, when we are suffering, then we are also imprisoned.
My question is how we will find out what is Krishna's will or what is Krishna's desire for us, and how can I find out what is against Krishna's desire?
I mean, the general desire of Krishna is that he wants us all to come back to the spiritual world and be there with him. That is his desire. Everything he does is with this desire in mind. He creates his material world and he performs his pastimes in the material world. The desire is always the same, that I want everyone to come to the spiritual world. All the living entities are my sons and daughters. I don't want them to actually suffer in the material world. So that is his general desire. And then of course there are specific desires also there. These specific desires we will come to know via media of the spiritual master. The spiritual master says, you do cooking for Krishna. So it was Krishna's desire that he wants us to cook for him. But it comes over the Guru. Or the spiritual master says, you do deity worship. That was Krishna's desire. Krishna's desire that we do deity worship. So, the spiritual master is therefore known as the transparent via media. He's transparently broadcasting Krishna's desire to us. Similarly, is transparently transporting our attempt to serve Krishna to Krishna. He is the conduit. Goes there. So, the spiritual master is our most important person. We have to accept and understand the Guru-tattva. It's very important. In spiritual life, one cannot make even the slightest progress without understanding Guru-tattva, because the Guru represents Krishna in full. So what does that mean? Representing Krishna in full. What does that mean? Means full surrender from our side. Just like the spiritual master is the full representative, similarly, our surrender to the spiritual master has to be also full. Then there is perfect harmony in all our activities.
When is the point the spiritual master says to his disciple, now this is your path to fulfill the desire of Krishna? Or does he waiting when is the right moment, he is really ready to accept that he's doing like worshipping deities or doing playing instruments, what else? What is, you know?
Mm-hmm. See, the thing is that every action that we perform is actually a very simple action. To us, eating is actually a very simple action, it's a necessity. Cooking is a little bit more complicated, but still it's... So all these actions that we perform on a daily basis, these actions are the desire of the spiritual master. He wants like that. Actions and the inner mood of surrender and devotion, that also he wants, desires. So in that way, we can progress in spiritual life. We should not think that, cooking or cleaning the floor or doing this is nothing very serious. Only direct service to the Lord is actual service. No. Service is any action done with faith, with the goal of satisfying Guru and Krishna. That is service. Can be the smallest thing, most insignificant. Doesn't matter. But this done with faith, enthusiasm, and with the desire to please the spiritual master. And that will please Krishna automatically. Because we don't know what pleases Krishna at this stage. But Guru is there. In front of me, he's there. In his instructions, he's there. He may not be physically present, doesn't matter. Prabhupada is always there. His instructions. Always there. So, we simply have to execute these instructions. Then we are rendering service. You don't have to do a very momentous kind of activity. The simplest activity, the simplest, that will please Krishna if it is done with proper faith and sincerity. That pleases the Guru.
We don't need actually to find out what is our dharma, and I mean there is also a connection between finding out our dharma and that's our the five jetzt muss in Deutsch sagen, diese 5 Arten, diese Beziehung, relationship we have.
You see, this under this whole concept of dharma, what is my dharma, is actually meaningless. Our actual dharma is to serve. What is more is there? And one may say, oh, I'm an artist, I'm a cook, I'm a musician. Okay, do it. What is the problem? Doesn't mean that your dharma is a musician. Your dharma is to serve with music. You're just the tools with which you are serving will be different. That's okay. Somebody is serving with musical instrument, somebody else is serving with something else. So the dharma is not a big thing to find out what is my dharma. My dharma is to become a servant of the servant. That is my dharma. I have to develop that. Externally what I do is not that important as long as I'm following the rules and regulations, the social rules and regulations, external actions. That can be. You're a mother, so you have to do according to a mother, the actions. But internally, that is the important factor. Because it is my internal mood and attitude which can make my action either as devotional service or as karma, fruitive activity. One of the two things. There can be pap and punya. There is no third factor in this. Either your actions are sinful or your actions are pious. On the external. But within, it is the attitude of servitude, faith. Then all the actions will not be anymore categorized as pap and punya, that is, as sinful activities and pious activities. But if there is proper faith within and following the instructions of the Guru, then my actions will be devotional service, transcendental. No more sinful action and pious action. No. So my dharma is simply to execute the desire of the spiritual master. That is my dharma. Because Krishna and spiritual master are non-different. So if I am executing my spiritual master's instruction, I am actually executing Krishna's desire.
What makes it so difficult to understand Guru-tattva?
Because of our tendency to make offense, we see faults in the Guru. It comes automatically, that is, we are habituated. We can't help. We are habituated. For many millions of lifetimes, we are habituated always to seek sense gratification, sense enjoyment. We've been habituated, and therefore nobody has to teach us how to enjoy one's senses. Now, the Guru, if we have that kind of attitude towards the Guru, to exploit him, like we do with every other person. In our relationship in the material world, all the materialists, they are all exploiters. They are only exploiting everyone else for their own material satisfaction, for their material gains. So if we try to see the spiritual master in that light, somebody to be exploited, then of course it's dangerous. And it happens. And not having full faith in the spiritual master, like Prabhupada may say something and I say, oh, this is not correct. How can this be correct? I mean, it's not that the spiritual master doesn't make mistakes. The spiritual master never cheats. That is the difference. The spiritual master may be in some mood, in an ecstatic mood. So he may say so many things. And it may not, in the material world, it may be a little funny, may not be correct. But the spiritual master is able to give us Krishna. And he never cheats. He will never cheat. All the others will cheat us. Just like Krishna is saying, the cheater and the cheated. So sometimes we are the cheaters also. And sometimes, or most of the time, we are being cheated. Others cheat us. But the spiritual master never cheats. The spiritual master is giving us Krishna without any falsity. And the spiritual master never puts himself before Krishna. he always puts himself behind Krishna, never in front of Krishna. And if he is there, he is the transparent via media. That means his presence in front of me does not block my vision to see the absolute truth. Does not block my vision because he is transparent. So Guru-tattva is very difficult to understand because it is the confluence. The Guru is the confluence, mundum, from the spiritual with the material. He is Jiva, but yet he has been empowered to be Ishwar, Bhagavan. Through the empowerment of the Supreme Lord, he has become supreme. But actually he is Jiva. A Jiva will never lose his status as Jiva in any condition. Whether he is in the material world as a conditioned soul, or in the spiritual world as a liberated soul. Jiva will always be Jiva. And Krishna will always be Bhagavan. Even when Bhagavan, Krishna, comes in the form of a human being, a Jiva, is still Bhagavan. And when the Supreme Lord empowers an exalted Vaishnava to be the spiritual master, an acharya, giving him the position as his representative, Krishna's representative, and becomes non-different from, yet under no circumstances will the spiritual master become Bhagavan. He will always remain Jiva. So this we have to understand. That's why it's difficult. Yet, although his Jiva, still because of the empowerment of this Supreme Lord, he should never be disrespected. Never be disrespected. And never seen as an ordinary mortal. Ordinary mortal means somebody who is taken birth due to a karmic reaction. The Guru, Prabhupada, and other acharyas, they have not taken birth due to any karma. No force of karma. And everything and anything that happens in their life, from getting sick to becoming old, all these things, they are not a result of his karma. No. It is the nature of the body. The spiritual master descends from the spiritual world, accepts a body which is like yours and mine, and the body has its own character and nature that cannot be changed. That cannot be changed. Only Krishna's body is Satchidananda Vigraha. But everyone else, doesn't matter. The body, other than the eternal associates, just like Radharani and the Subal, Sudam, Madhumangal and Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, Devaki, Vasudev, like that. Their body doesn't decay. But all the jivas, they decay. When they come to the material world, then, otherwise not. To participate in Krishna's pastimes. Even Krishna falls sick, you know? Do you know? Krishna fell sick? Yeah? How?
Wo er dann niemand beauftragt hat.
Huh?
Wo er Kopfschmerzen hatte, meinst du, ne?
Krishna hat Kopfschmerzen.
Ja, wo er die Gopis den Fußstaub gegeben hat. Meinst du die Geschichte?
Yeah, das ist wichtig. So Krishna also gets sick or not? Huh? So Krishna also sleeps or not? Krishna also eats or not? So he does all the activities just like anyone else. When he is coming in the material world, so Guru does also all the activities like everyone else.
You said that we also may cheat. That might also happen with the devotees.
What?
To cheat unconsciously.
Cheat.
Yeah. You said that it might be possible that sometimes also the devotees cheat, and the materialistic devotees, the Kanishta Adhikaris, they might not have the consciousness to differentiate if they cheat or if they don't cheat. What is the Guru's role to chastise, or is he sad about it? What can be done about this? Sometimes when
the Guru will chastise when the Guru thinks it is necessary, especially if it is harming someone else, and if the service to the Lord is not being properly done like that, the Guru will chastise. But otherwise, by cheating the devotees, he will get the consequences also. And their karma will act, because cheating is a non-devotional action. So there it will get the karma.
I mean, Prabhupada was so a special person. Why he, I mean, you said he already had the spiritual soul inside, and why he just started so late with distributional Krishna consciousness in the Western world?
No, that's not true. He started at the right time. You also have to see the conditions of the Western world at that time. If it came before, it would not have happened. And that was the right time. This is all Krishna's arrangement. It's not Prabhupada's arrangement. It's Krishna's arrangement.
No, I just thought maybe it was also that we have a good example how he lived his life and so on.
Well, that is also a factor, but the main fact is that the time that Srila Prabhupada went there was the right time to begin the Sankirtan, because This is all under the control of the Supreme Lord. This is all in the control. Otherwise, it could not have happened. Srila Prabhupada was acting 100% according to the desires of the Supreme Lord.
Yeah, actually today in India there's a lot of fanfare for establishing the statue of Ramanujacharya.
Ah, yes.
So would you please tell me something about him?
Well, Ramanujacharya is the main acharya in the Śrī Sampradaya in the south. They worship Lakshmi Narayan, and Ramanujacharya was the main acharya in that sampradaya. It was established by Lakshmi Devi. Well, his life is wonderful. I mean, there are so many anecdotes, but we just don't have the time now to describe all the anecdotes.
Okay, some other time.
Yes, some other time. But Ramanujacharya, it was an incarnation of Ananta Sheshnag. He was very powerful. He drove away Mayavad philosophy from the south. So, I thank all of you for your very patient hearing. And when Krishna so desires and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada blesses us, then we shall get to hear Harikatha very soon again. Hare Krishna, and all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.